Hey guys, how's it going? Thanks for joining today. Another edition of Between Two Sticks. Very exciting to have our guest today. Looking forward to this one. Just to kick things off, if anybody had to go through that crazy storm that rolled through Ontario, I hope everyone stayed safe and hope there wasn't too many damages. It was a pretty crazy one, but wanted to make sure that I got that out there and wish the best for anyone that was affected by it. But yeah, no, it should be a good one. Should be a good one today. Get going here. All right, so Between Two Sticks, of course, your host, Big Kahuna 03, sitting in the main chair here, the interviewing chair. And today, joining me, he's a two-time Player of the Week winner. He had almost about 3 points per game in his CHL career. He had one of the nastiest LT goals I've ever seen, and it was against me. The man with all the power and our fearless leader. Welcome to the show, LG McDonald. Welcome, man. How's it going?
Good, man. Good. How are you?
Not too bad. Thanks. Not too bad. Appreciate you doing this, man.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I'm definitely glad we were able to get some power back on in time for this because obviously now we both got hit pretty bad yesterday with a storm. So it's yeah, definitely glad to be here for sure.
Awesome. 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 So, one way we like to start things off here is getting one random or interesting fact about yourself.
Yeah, so I guess kind of like we just spoke about before we went live too. I guess I could. Most people know, some people don't, but I'm a professional firefighter. That's what I do for a living. So, kind of night and day opposite of what the video game esports thing is. I know a lot of the older guys I work with are super confused when I talk about esports and don't really understand what I mean when I'm talking about tournaments and we're running events and all that stuff. So it's definitely kind of night and day from what my career is outside of the video game world.
Yeah, no doubt, man. No doubt. They must give you a hard time about it sometimes too. I can sure.
Well, it's kind of funny because I know, like, well, obviously pre-COVID, a couple summers ago, I took vacation and I flew out to Vancouver and I was gameplay testing. I think it was NHL 20. Excuse me, was the last one we got to gameplay test before it went live beta. So, taking that time off, the guys were just kind of like, what do you mean you're going to Vancouver to play video games?" So I was definitely, yeah, it's interesting for a lot of them to kind of live through this and to kind of see what it's all about.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So let's talk about the beginning. How did you get involved in LG? And like, were you in your current position when you started right away, or did you kind of grow into this role?
Wow, it feels like forever ago now. 2014, I was part of a community on leaguearena.com. I was a commissioner and ran the VHL for several seasons over there. I've been playing sixes since '09, so like since pretty much sixes was possible, I jumped on, played sixes for there, and then I kind of got into VHL, maybe in NHL 10, NHL 11. It was VHL was a similar league to this. After a couple seasons, I enjoyed it, wanted to be a part of this, so I kind of jumped on a staff as a BOG, worked my way up, and by the time it was, we kind of took that league and we merged over to LG. I was the commissioner there. In 2014, the website for the VHL wasn't awesome. There was some internal issues. The site admin wasn't really great to deal with. So the community was looking for a change. That's when Triz and I kind of got together, met in person, kind of talked over what the goals were, what we each wanted from our partnership, and then that's when we joined forces and kind of haven't looked back since then. So since the beginning, not the beginning of LG, but I think since my time in LG, I've been in the position I've been in where, so it's been over 10 years of me running a league of this nature. And it's been I think almost 8 years of doing it here in LG.
Right on. That's awesome. So I mean, I guess like if you've been in from the beginning, like has this league grown a ton? Like I haven't been around too long, so just like from the beginning to now, like how big has this league grown?
Yeah, it's actually, it's pretty crazy. So I remember when I joined staff in VHL in, oh my God, I don't even know, like 2012, maybe 2011. The AHL at the time, I think, was only 20 teams, and the NHL was 30 teams. Um, and then from that point on, by the time I was commissioner, by about 2013, we were looking to expand to the CHL. We were able to get the CHL up to 60 teams, and then we took that whole league and we came over to LG. The first couple seasons of LG, we blew the doors right off the numbers from what we ever saw in VHL, and from that point, there's obviously been some minor setbacks that are kind of completely out of our control that have reduced numbers and kind of had some issues along the way. But since that point in time, we this has come a long, long way. technically and from VHL. I think I was the third ever commissioner they ever had in VHL as well. And talking to some of those guys who kind of like started everything back in the day, they started this with like 6 or 7 teams, and now we're looking at like 188 teams per console, or 180 teams total, basically, which is like, it's incredible where it started from and where it is now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's insane. I remember when I first joined, I was like, "This is crazy how big this league is." So you guys are doing a great job, and continuing to grow the league. It's awesome.
And even then, though, I remember the beginning. Like this is how far back it goes. I remember the beginning. We had Google Docs that were the roster page. So when a player got traded, the BOG had to manually adjust the doc. We did random assignments, one player at a time through the admin panel. Like literally, like take a player, assign him to a random team, and then continue it on the next, on the next, on the next. You got to think too, like you're seeing upwards to 300-400 random assignments a week. We used to do waivers in a thread. So like a player would go on waivers, and then it would be like up to timestamps in a thread for people to place claims on waivers. Like the things we used to do, this was definitely a full-time job in the very beginning.
Yeah, I bet the site helps with a lot of that now, I'm sure. Yeah, I saw a little bit of that when I was helping out with the SHL that Banana League for a while, and it was the same kind of thing. It was so much to manage manually. There's a lot of tools you guys have on the website that help that out big time.
Absolutely, yeah, for sure.
So question for you, being on teams and being in the position that you're in, do you find it tough at all, like shooting the shit with the guys? Like, are you able to build relationships? Like, can you turn off like the lead guy and just be a player with these guys, or how does that go?
Yeah, I have a really easy time doing it, to be honest. I think some people just don't know what to expect. I think there's a lot of people that have never met me before that either think I'm 20 years old and just a kid that's running this, or they don't really know what to expect when they first meet me. They don't realize that I've played competitive hockey my whole life, kind of growing up, and I know what it's like to be in the locker room and have a good time. But I think once people would kind of get used to playing with me and knowing who I am, I think that it's obviously pretty comfortable. At the end of the day, it's the amount of work that goes into managing a league like this. The last thing I want to do is get on, play my games, and kind of have to be the guy. I'd rather just get on, be one of the boys, kind of have a good time, play my games, play club, and kind of just like kind of go. It's kind of the reward for how much work it is at the end of the day running a league of this nature.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I can imagine there's there may be even some people that I'd say maybe be intimidated by you being on their team too because of the position you're in. Maybe some guys that kiss some ass too. Who knows?
Yeah, I definitely think there's some people that like maybe would shy away from picking me up on their team for whatever reason. But at the end of the day, it's like the people the managers I have played for, they all kind of like the fact that I gotta gather my own line. I do the stats for the games that we win. Like it's nice to have that kind of that extra hand here and there. And I've had managers in the past too. Take a chance on a couple players that have had maybe a toxic um, reputation, just because of the fact that I'm in the dressing room and I'm on the team. That that perception alone has kind of allowed that has made sure that player kind of was stayed in the straight and narrow. So, but I definitely think there's probably some people that don't know me at all that would maybe shy away. But at the end of the day, when I'm signing on to play my games, I'm just I'm here to have a good time like everyone else.
Yeah, for sure, for sure, and definitely like your knowledge of the rule book probably comes in handy sometimes too. Because I think it was this year I was talking to Spads about it when he was on. When I forget who you guys were playing against, but they were calling it out in manager's chat saying you guys were ragging the puck, but your knowledge of the rule book allowed you guys to fire back on that one.
Yeah, it was me. It was me with the puck, which was even better. Like it's kind of funny. Yeah, I know. And that's the thing too. It's like the rule book is so what's the word, is so dated. Like it's not dated in a sense, but it's been around forever. And a lot of those rules we've had for 10 years. And the original writer of the rules was he was actually a law student who wrote everything kind of the way that we kind of wanted at the time. And obviously there's been some adjustments along the way, and obviously we need to make some adjustments along the way. But I think that's one benefit. There's lots of like little questions and little finicky things that managers kind of aren't sure of. So having me on the team has kind of made things a little bit easier in that sense, for sure.
For sure, for sure. Um, if you were to run interviews for owners or managers, what is one thing that you value and you would look for in a good manager for this league?
Oh, that's a good question. I think that one of the biggest things that makes a team successful is having the ability to kind of bring everyone together. The successful and the fun experiences I've had in this league have been from owners and managers that like had a really active Discord, really involved the training camp, really involved everyone, and the team played consistently. Whether it was playing club together, was playing club against each other, whatever it may be, that kind of camaraderie I think is really what separates this league. and really makes it enjoyable. Everyone, it's very easy to jump in, play drop in, get bored after 2 games, and it doesn't mean anything. I think it's when it comes down to it, people sign up for leagues like this because they want to be a part of something. They want to meet new people. They want to play consistently. They want to hang out with people that have common interest. I think that one of the biggest things for me is I like the managers that are willing to talk to every single player, to have an active Discord, to promote that positive experience and that team atmosphere, and make everyone feel like they're involved. That's so important, I think. And all the teams that are successful, especially down the stretch and through the playoffs, other teams that are built like that. Because you never know. At the end of the day, look at last night as an example. All it takes is a storm to go through. One guy loses power. That's not going to result in a replay of a game. And now you need an ECU. You need someone to step up, kind of last second, for you to continue your season. And if you have that relationship with those players for the duration of the season, it's very easy to go to your team chat and say, hey, listen, I need a left wing, and have a guy that's played with your team before, who knows the systems, knows what's going on, and is active for you when you need them.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's huge, right? And like when you mentioned like the ECU part being like when you need a guy, someone's there to step up, and it's usually because you're doing a good job and keeping everyone active. It's so important because that stuff can happen at any point in time, right?
Absolutely. You never know. Like, guy get called in work, guy gets sick, guy gets hurt, power goes out. And then there's to throw in EA issues or an Xbox issue. There's so many variables that could happen that are completely out of our control. That if you have one of those teams that's super active and super deep, deep's important. Like, you need to be able to have quality people in the training camp to fill in, and I think those are the teams that are very successful.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I just got to take a quick pause from our interview here because Spad said this is for Brody, and he just gifted 25 subs. Thank you so much, Spads. I'm not gonna read everyone's name right now because it'll take me forever, and it'll just take a dive into this interview. But we'll keep the interview going as these notifications keep popping up. But Spads, you're the man. Thank you so much. And obviously, thanks Brody for being on the show and getting Spads to do this for me. Thank you.
Absolutely, that's great.
Yeah, he's paying you back for the round one loss.
Good times.
So one of the things I noticed when I looked at your LG trophy case, which is much bigger than mine, I don't see any of the 3 major trophies. Is this correct? You never won a championship?
Never. And I think it was an NHL 18, maybe. The game that had the preset builds and you could play as a 2-way angler. I think that was 18, maybe 19. That game, I went to the Calder Cup finals all 3 seasons on Xbox in the AHL. So like winter, fall, summer, went 3 straight Calder Cup finals. 2 of them led the playoffs in scoring and still couldn't come up with anything. I think my closest chance in the CHL probably would have been last season with Kingston. We had a hell of a team and ended up losing against an even better team, obviously, who ended up winning it all. So yeah, it's still seeking some sort of championship along the way, but it is what it is. It's kind of the fun. The chase, all the fun is in the chase for sure.
Yeah, big time, man. Big time. I couldn't believe it, man. I thought like for sure there'd be at least one. And you're right, like that Kingston team last season was unreal, but that Sioux team, those guys have been playing together like that tight group for so long. They've been grinding so hard to get that championship. So yeah, you ran into a really good team there.
They were by far one of the best teams I think I've ever played against. They were so well rounded, and even that being said, like that Kingston team I was on was, like I said, probably the most skilled team I've ever played on. And even too in the regular season, we beat them I think 3 or 4 times. So we were kind of feeling confident going into it, but they were goaltending was hot. They played defensively really well, and they were just a hell of a team. So no, it's still chasing a championship for me for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So actually, that was gonna be my next question, but you pretty much answered it. So you're saying that Kingston team was probably the best team that you've ever played on, or is there another one that stands out?
No, that was definitely. I'd have to say that was probably kind of ticks all the boxes. It was probably the most fun I've ever had. It was by far the most active I've ever been on it. Like a team's ever been, whether it be like the team playing, the training camp playing. It was so easy to go into that team chat and just like be like, hey, who wants to play? And you had 6 in minutes. Like it was, which is kind of like I said, it's at the end of the day with how much work it becomes to ensure these leagues are running. That's what matters the most. I've always said, like, I don't really care what team I'm on, win or lose. Obviously, I'm here to win. I want to win. I'm competitive. But if I could be on a team that's super active and plays often, at least it's a nice escape from, how much work this league becomes. And, skill-wise, like top to bottom, that was one of the best teams I've ever been on. And we rolled right through the playoffs until we met the Sioux team. But and I truly believe the winner of the series between Sault Ste. Marie was going to win it all anyway. So, congrats to them. And they played a hell of a series for sure.
Yeah, I would disagree either. I think between you two, you would have won for sure. Griggs, thanks for the bits saying Brody elite is what Griggs is saying. Um
Um,
okay, so squeak this one here. Let's talk about this season. Were you disappointed the way the season finished?
yes and no. To be honest, I think this season in general was just disappointing in a lot of different aspects. It was disappointing. Um, yeah, I think I had like 7 or 8 overtime losses this season. It's just like holy shit, like that never happens. It's like usually I'm on the other side of that one. So alone, like individually, that's disappointing. Had a great line. Like I got to play with some really good people. Had a centerman called up in week 3 that was had some good chem with. Traded for a player from Kingston I played with last year that was incredible. Had a lot of fun with him. Tom and JT on defense were super talkative. Good times. We just at times we just couldn't click, couldn't get things going. And then we kind of had a revolving door of a right winger the whole season. So this whole season, kind of up and down, was disappointment after disappointment. Coming in to play you guys, I think what hurt the most is obviously availability. We had 2 guys that could only play Sunday. I couldn't play Monday because I was at Monday. No, I couldn't play Tuesday because I was working. So definitely availability kind of sucks. So we had to shuffle the deck, and we had lines that have never played together. So I think you guys played us well though. You played smart. Took your chances when you had it and played like pretty tight defense, which is pretty important, especially when you're playing against 3 lines that have literally never played together. So disappointed, not really. Like I said, I didn't. I think Spads is a good manager, and the team was fun. The team was active. Definitely not as active as Kington, but active. I had a good time. I just think overall it was just like it was a disappointing season, top to bottom, just in my personal performance, and then having the fact that we couldn't really throw at you guys the lineups we wanted. But again, it's kind of glass is half full. Right at the end of right at the end of the season with Kingston, girlfriend had a baby, so I have a newborn at home right now. He's 4 months, I think, today. So not getting on the Xbox every night is kind of nice as well too. Don't really get help out the old lady around the house, which is she definitely appreciates the time off right now. So it's definitely glass is half full. I thought we could have advanced. The matchups we had along the way could have been a lot better, but at the end of the day, it just comes down to the fact that you guys had a game plan, stuck to it, and we just had no chemistry coming into that series. So it is what it is.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey, congratulations on the newborn, man. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's good times for sure. He's lots of fun.
Yeah, and they just keep getting funner. I'll tell you that right now. It is. It's fun for sure.
Yeah, we have a 5-year-old as well too, and he's more than a mouthful sometimes. So yeah, can't wait till he's a little bit older.
Yeah. Hey, I remember seeing those lineups when you guys put them out, because obviously we played each other a ton this season. Well, not a ton, but we followed you guys pretty closely, being in the same division. And when I saw the lineups and they were a little bit off, I was like, "What is going on?" And that's just the way playoffs work. Sometimes availability is just it's tough, man. Like because you need to be 2 in the first, or 1 in the first 4, 2 in the first 7, right? So if you have a guy that's missing Tuesday, he's got to play 2 games in the first 2 days too, right? So it's tough.
I think too that's important. And I think there's been so many managers that always say, "Oh, I want a 3-3-3-4, a 3-3-1 format for playoffs." So they want 3 games Sunday, 3 games Monday, and then game 7 to be alone. And it's like what people don't understand is the fact that the way the playoff rules are written, those playoff rules are rock solid to be competitive, to give home ice advantage, to make sure all 3 lines play. Those those are not I didn't write those playoff rules. They're the original rules from 2009. And whoever wrote them is like, God bless them, because those are perfect in my opinion. But if we went to a 3-3-1, you literally need all 17 of your players available Sunday, Monday. There's no room for a guy working shift work. There's no room for someone losing the internet. There's none of that. So that's why the format is 2-2-3. So you have to play at least 2 games in the first 6. Well, game 5 and 6 are on the Tuesday. So you get game 1 and 2, then you get a break, then you get game 2 and 3 and 4, then you get a break, then you get 5, 6, 7. So it spreads it out. So if a guy isn't here Tuesday, they can play 1 game Sunday, and then they can play one game Tuesday. And that's the reason why it's set up like that. Yeah, obviously I'd love to have individual game 7s on their own because it's hype, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, the reason why it is how it is. So it's competitive and it's fair for availability. That's 100% why those rules are the way they're written.
Yeah, you know what, man? I think that's a really good perspective that you put on it too, and explaining it like that, and that might click for a few of those guys that argue for it, because it could definitely screw your lineups even more than what it does today, right? So, no, that's a good
Because
good
you
way to look at it.
could you imagine? No, you have an unreal season. Like look at let's go Sault Ste. Marie or even like Portland. Like unreal seasons, really good teams, really strong finish, strong playoff, and then next thing you know, their top line can't play Tuesday, can't play Monday. So now they can't play 4, 5, 6. Now what? Hopefully they can play two in the first like two games on Sunday. Like that can, so you put in a complete 7 week, 8 week season. You bust your ass. You build this team. You build chemistry. You play nonstop, and then you have two guys lose power. One guy gets called into work, and then now what?
For sure.
Now what? Right. So it's one of those things where it's like I get it. Like I would love to have individual game sevens as well, but at the end of the day, this is the most competitive the schedule can be to ensure that it works in everyone's availability.
For sure. No, I think that was a great perspective on it. Like you said, right? Like if they can't play the Monday, and you're the home team and you get the opportunity to try to line match, you can't anymore, right? Like you just can't. So
Yeah, absolutely. And no, that's happened to us against you guys. It's like we had home ice and we had no ability to line match. But
right.
it is what it is. Like, it's that's part of the game. That's what happens. It's just the unfortunate side of things. So
Yeah,
it is what it is.
for sure, for sure. Okay, so are you current? Sorry, are you happy with the current state of the league? Is there anything that you would like to see different, or anything you'd like to change to make it better?
Um, I would say I'm happy with the state of the league. I'm very disappointed in the state of the game, which is obviously has such a plays such a factor on the state of the league. You know, I came over in season 17. That was a winter season. We went season 17 on NHL 14. Season 18 was summer season, NHL 14. Blew the doors off the records for amount of teams, amount of signups. Triz and I are rolling. Everything's great. We're 8 months into our partnership, and then next gen Xbox comes out, and there's no ESHL on NHL 15. And we're back to the drawing board. We lose about half our sign up numbers, and then we continue forward. This is no different. Coming into this, I've known since January of last year that the game NHL 22 was going to be divided into 4 different consoles. I've known from the beginning, being part of the game changers and gameplay testing for EA. I'm lucky I get to hear all this information beforehand, and so it gives me time to plan. That's why last year we were really really heavy pushing about maybe we should separate the ECHL. We should look at all these issues, and everyone was for that. And then it kind of just got put on the back burner, and no one really knew why. And obviously, I'm under NDA with EA, so some of those things I can't talk about when they're current. But that's literally why I knew coming into this console that the numbers were going to take a major hit. Um, we knew that we had to go next gen for Xbox. Xbox is obviously the number one console that's being used for esports and all the organization tournaments we're running. So that was a no brainer. We knew we were going to take a hit on numbers. The PlayStation side of things, ideally, we wanted to go PlayStation 5, but the numbers just weren't there. It was like 41% of the players on LG had a PlayStation 5. So we went old gen for them. Which is good, but at the same time, it's very disappointing. It really changes the whole dynamic of the league. COVID was really good to LG in the sense that we had crazy amount of numbers at one point in time. I think we had like 96 or 9,700 active players, plus esports tournaments going on. The website was rocking. Like Friday night pucks going, Saturday night pucks going. It was great. There's nothing else going on, so obviously people wanted to play hockey. But obviously with restrictions being lifted, and Ontario seems to be like one of the last places to do that. We're going to probably we're seeing numbers not as high. We're seeing the interest in being managers kind of dwindle, which was expected. We had such a boom with COVID that, there's going to be a little of a lull right now. So I think with I've always said this community is very versatile, and this community wants to play competitively. This community likes to play with each other, play against each other, win championships. And even though like we have players that are never going to play on the esports stage and play for cash or win big prizing, that competitive nature is always going to be there. And if we continue to tier the leagues the way we're tiering them, the CHL, the AHL, the NHL are always going to be competitive. So I'm definitely really happy with the direction the league itself is going. I'm disappointed that at times it feels like the direction of the game really hinders the quality of the league, because it's completely out of my control. I'm one voice. I get to kind of go to EA and say these are the things that our community wants. Kind of be a voice for the things that we want to push, things that we want, and hope that it gets better. But at the end of the day, I'm at the mercy of what decisions that corporate EA is going to make with the direction of their game. And No, I get it. Like, obviously, they're going to sell 4 versions of the game because the consoles aren't available, and they need to sell the game to make money, or there's not going to be an NHL. So I get it from their standpoint as well. It's just it's extremely difficult to kind of go. We were trending in such a great position to have to expand, to have a bigger league, to do all these things, that it's very unfortunate that all of a sudden it went, kind of up in the air based off of decisions made for the direction of the current game.
Yeah. Did you guys have any discussions around potentially doing a old gen league like individually outside of the regular LG?
Um, in the beginning, I had a lot of interest in doing that. I kind of felt obligated that we should try to offer something for every single person that's here. There's a ton of players that haven't made the jump yet, but at the end of the day, it comes down to staff. Right now we're struggling to maintain the staff that we currently have, and the staff that I do have are like, they're busting their ass just to maintain the leagues that we have. So, um, if if we had a robust staff that was experienced, knew what was going on, and we just had the numbers, it'd be very easy for us to copy and paste the forums and away we go. But unfortunately, we have a hard time finding staff, and I get it. There's some people that are old school, and they want to hold grudges for past experiences with staff. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, like, if there's not enough staff, we're not going to run more leagues. And those that want more leagues, well, we kind of need the staff to be able to do it. It's kind of the same thing with like Friday Night Puck and Saturday Night Puck. Like, everyone's like, some people are like, oh, I really want to play those again. It's like, yeah, those were fun, but we don't have any staff that actually want to run it because it was such a headache to run that over time people get burnt out, they move on, and it is what it is. So, ideally, yeah, like I said, it would have been nice to kind of to run something small for PlayStation's 5 and something small for Xbox One, but it just wasn't in the cards based off of the people that we currently have in place in staff roles.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I know there was, yeah, a lot of guys even last season that were, the console availability was like one of the biggest things I think for a lot of people, not being able to get the console in time to sign up and get signed up on time. And I think we had a lot of RVs start showing up because it was the timing of when they got Xboxes, right? So,
No,
um,
absolutely. So hopefully that trickles in summer season, right? Like, hopefully that helps us out there a little bit. So,
for sure, for sure. Now with all that you said, happy with the league, things are going really well, and you like the way the league's going. Um, is there any other ways that we can continue to grow the league?
yeah, I know there's a ton of ideas. It's kind of funny. The amount of people that have like taken the actual like picture off Twitter and sent it to me is funny. But I think it was maybe a month ago or whatever. But FIFA announced that they're trying or going to bring crossplay, right, or cross console. So Xbox and PlayStation can play against each other on FIFA. Blah blah blah. So everyone kind of sees that and kind of comes running to me and goes, "Is like, is that in the cards for NHL? Like, if FIFA does this, can NHL do this?" And I keep saying the same thing. It's like, what, I think obviously if FIFA is going to go that direction, NHL is going to eventually. When it does, I have no idea. Hopefully, it's sooner than later because I think there's obviously a lot of who's better, Xbox or PlayStation. So to have the ability to kind of play everyone together and kind of do that would be a lot of fun. It also give us the opportunity then to like kind of add additional leagues. We could add additional leagues below the CHL. There's for those people that follow like junior hockey in Canada, there's a ton of junior leagues in Canada. And then there's like the USHL. There's even the NCAA. Like, obviously, I understand those jerseys aren't in the game, but it's very easy for us to kind of be like, let's add, these 25 NCAA Division One teams to our league. We'll place them as a lateral to the CHL, move some players around, call it a day. Or like, let's separate the ECHL, put it above the CHL, separate the CHL completely, turn the CHL training camp into the USHL, into junior A hockey from Canada, stuff like that. So there's opportunities to continue to add more teams and do those things. It just comes down to obviously player signups, which right now aren't terrible, but hopefully in the future, we have everyone kind of shifts over to next gen and we bring our numbers back up closer to that 4,000 per console. And then obviously the number of staff we have. So that's how we can continue to grow everything out. I think too that the more NHL sponsored events we run, the possibility of bringing new players to LG is there. Like, most people don't realize it, but like, the last time I spoke to EA about numbers, there was close to, I think it was like 150,000 players per console that play World HL. So if that's 300,000 players, we'll say roughly. LG's only like 10,000 of those 300,000. So it's like we're such a small portion of the community. I would say that the likelihood of us bringing out of that 300,000, bringing in top tier talent that's better than the players that we currently have would be probably slim. But to bring in players that are at entry level, that want to play competitive, want to play organized, that entry to mid level CHL, AHL player, I still think there's probably a ton of those players that are out there that have no idea what we do here in LG and would probably benefit huge from being a part of this. So I think expansion's always there. It's always an option. So we'll see what the future brings. And again, like I said kind of earlier, we're kind of at the mercy of the game, right? Like, if there's issue with the game next year, that could really drastically change how the league develops and goes, or even how the quality of the game plays. There's tons of complaints about the current version of the game. Some people love the X Factor, some people hate it. So like I said, there's definitely variables that are out of our hand that could allow us to grow or allow things to kind of recess a little bit depending on what happens.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. Hey, the first thing you said when you started that was we all want to know, like, we have a little bit of beef saying, is PlayStation better, is Xbox better, who's better?
It's completely different play styles. I think the depth the depth of the community is on Xbox 100% because it's been going on for so much longer. I think there's definitely top tier players that are on PlayStation that if they jump to Xbox would fit right in the top echelon. But as you work your way down, I think that you know. So I'll give you an example. So I didn't play PlayStation this year, or like the season just passed, but the season prior I did. So I was on Kingston and I was on Grand Rapids, and Grand Rapids on PlayStation was like top 3 in the AHL, and then Kingston was, I think, whatever. I think we won the President's Trophy, so top team. It was about the same caliber, just to kind of give you an example. So that 42 team competitive CHL that we've had for 2 seasons on Xbox was about the same equivalency to what PlayStation had in the AHL. There was definitely some AHL players that were in that PlayStation league that would be better than the best players in and Xbox and the CHL, but it was around that same kind of caliber.
Fair enough, fair enough. So it could be really interesting if we get to see that somewhere down the road and get to be able to. Actually, I guess some guys would end up meshing together, maybe too, right? So it'd be interesting to
For
see.
sure. I definitely think there won't be a lot of change at in the top tier. It's in the middle and lower tier where you see some drastic differences. Everyone talks about how like they want the CHL to be more competitive. Having one league would do that because you have a ton of players that wouldn't make the cut for the AHL or the ECHL, and the CHL would then become super competitive. And then the leagues below the CHL that we could add in the future would be development leagues, could be leagues for guys that just don't want to play competitively anymore, players that just don't aren't that good anymore, right? And if it's tiered properly, it's going to be competitive at every single tier, anyways. So that's kind of the goal, the hope for the future. So
yeah, I just put a poll up for anyone that's in the chat or watching to see who they think's better, Xbox or PlayStation. I've heard Xbox, and I'm not going to argue against that, but it'd be interesting to see somewhere down the road. One thing that kind of compares to that is we get, especially in managers chat, we're talking about these teams are doing so well, okay, but their division's weak or their conference is weak or the league is weak, right? And one thing I think it'd be cool to see is if there's some way we can do some sort of tournament where we rank all the teams and just do like an elimination tournament in the off season or something, just to see how these teams match up against the other leagues and whatnot. Somewhat like Saturday Night Puck style. Is that something you think that we could be able to do someday, or something that sparks interest?
We could do it easily. It'd be very easy to run. To be able to do that. We could take the Saturday Night Puck form, and you could even run it as a weekend tournament. You can do like a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday double elimination. And as long as every single team in the CHL submits a lineup, a roster of 9 or whatever, and then they play double elimination, and the games are actually played. Because that's the thing too. Set it all up takes a little bit of effort, but with the right tools and the right staff, the current staff I have could easily set that up for you guys. But it'd be one of those things that if we're going to put effort into setting it up, we want the teams to actually play and compete. But it'd be very easy to do if there was 42 teams interested in doing it.
It was just something that sparked interest to me because honestly, there's so much smack talk all the time about being like, yeah, but you guys are playing these garbage teams, so you're not really this good, or maybe there's a bottom team that thinks they got snubbed because they're in a really good division, and you get to see how all these teams end up matching up against each other. But I think that'd be a fun little thing to do. I know you guys got tons going on right now, but definitely something to keep in the back pocket, maybe.
I think that the season's 8 weeks. You could do one like a quick one the preseason week instead of having preseason.
Yeah.
Then you could do one in like week 3 or 4, and then one in week 7 and 8, and then one at the very end of the season if you wanted to. It's like I said, it's all the tools and systems are there for us to set up a double elimination tournament. We need you need the managers to actually manage and bring a team, bring a lineup to play.
Yeah, no, you definitely want to get some buy-in from the guys. Everyone says it's a good idea until they actually have to do something, and then they're like, "Oh, can't do it" or whatever, right? They'll always say something until it's actually a real thing. So,
Yeah, I agree, and that's the thing too. It's like it'd be nice to do it properly too. I think it's like rosters of 9 is kind of the esports way of doing things, but like hold teams to their rosters they currently have.
yeah,
And which would also make it even more competitive because they're I don't know if available, every team's going to throw their game 7 lineup. So it's like you're going to have like the best of the best for every CHL team competing in a double elimination tournament. It'd be really cool to see the outcome, and then do it 3 or 4 times in a season, and then see what the outcome is compared to who wins the World Cup. That's pretty neat to me.
yeah, for sure. And then, like, I mean, the other thing too is like if you didn't want to leave out the other lines, you have 3 lines, right? Like all 3 lines could play each other at the same time, and just best 2 out of 3, right? You could move on. You could do something like
Yeah,
that
you
as
could
well.
100% you could do that, or even you could take it, you could run it as like 3 different tournaments, like
Yeah,
tournament one, the tournament A, tournament B, tournament C, but they run at the same time. So it's like your first line plays, your second line plays, your third line plays. Obviously, it's more commitment because you have to have everyone available to play. Or maybe you just do 2 lines and then you kind of let that second line be a blend of the second and third line kind of thing. But
yeah.
either way, there's lots of options, lots of ideas. It just comes down to the commitment level of the managers who actually want to do that. If they want to do it, we can do it. It's easy.
And staff, like you said earlier, we need staff, more staff.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't help. It would definitely help for sure.
Right on. All right, last question here. Have you guys ever thought of doing something externally for LG? Something like some sort of event or a golf tournament or something? You got a really big, following, big community. I just didn't know if that was something that's ever come up for you guys.
I know we had a lot of interest in doing all that, and then COVID hit. So the last 2 years, that's been such on the back burner. I think what would be really nice would be eventually, we're building such great relationships with NHL organizations. It'd be nice to get to the point where there's a live final. Like let's say we're doing the San Jose Sharks, or we're doing another NHL organization. The finals are live, and then there's tickets sold to that live final. Something that would be pretty neat because we could open it up to the whole community. Be like, hey guys, these 2 teams are playing. We're going to use this as a meet and greet for our community as well too. This is who's going to be there. Come hang out. That would be a lot of fun. It'd be pretty cool. I know prior to COVID in 2019, I was down in Vegas for GWC when John Wayne was competing, and LG sponsored him. So I was down there watching it all live, and got to meet a bunch of people from all over the place, right? From the community, top players. It was pretty neat. So I think at a larger scale, to be able to meet a ton of people from LG would be kind of a lot of fun, and people would like that. So
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I think you'd have a lot of buy-in too. Like I think a lot of these guys have been playing together for a long time. I think it's a tight community, I would say too. So I think it'd be successful.
I think it'd be, like I said, I think it'd be pretty awesome. But I also know the dark side of the community. There's been lots of issues behind the scenes that I've had to deal with. And even personally, like I've had my personal email hacked. I've had my personal Facebook hacked. I've had threatening emails sent to my work, like all kinds of things like that. So it's like there's definitely that aspect of things as well too. So if it ever got to a larger scale, I mean, we're going to do something, but that's unfortunately something we'd have to consider. You look what happened. I think it was in 2018 at that Madden event in Florida, right? And guy walked in with a handgun and shot 2 guys live on Twitch on stream. So um, that's the unfortunate side of the internet, and that's the unfortunate side of the world we live in sometimes. So, but I definitely would love to see us get together as a community and just do things the right way and the safe way, and be kind of fun for everyone to enjoy it.
For sure, for sure. Okay, so that was it for the questions from myself. So I leave one open for all my guests if they have one question for me. While you think of that, I would just say, if there's anything from the chat, try to make it non-related to like rulings and stuff like that, because I know that McDonald and Buck are going to go on Five for Costing here in a couple weeks and do something around those lines. So if you guys have any questions and learn a little bit more about McDonald, feel free to put them in here and I'll ask those as well. But yeah, do you have any one question for me?
You talking to me?
Yeah, you.
Who are your picks to win in the semis?
Ooh, good call. Let's go through this. I am going to take Portland to get through and Oshawa to get to the finals.
Nice.
Who would you have?
Portland and the Sioux. I just don't think Oshawa's deep enough. I think Oshawa's a very good team, but I just don't think they have the depth to beat the Sioux. So
Yeah, it's going to be a really tough series. I think it's going to be really good. Those two teams will battle it out, but I truthfully I think Portland's going to easily get there, and they could be the favorite, I think, for the match.
yeah, Portland's my pick to win it. If you look at some of the games they won, they're blowing teams out. They've got 2 lines that are unmatched, and I'd like to see I'd like to see how they match up against Sault Ste. Marie, because Sault Ste. Marie's got a pretty deep team, and they obviously did last season as well. But I just think the two lines of that Portland team are pretty deadly. So be interesting to see what happens along the way. But I don't think there's going to be much answer for those two lines, right? So
Yeah, no, those two lines are very, very good. And the Sioux handed me my first ever playoff win, so I have to thank them for that. So maybe I hope they get through. Here we go. We got a question earlier from John Payne asking, what was your favorite team or player or owners to play for? Sorry.
favorite owners to play for. Well, I played for Plymouth last season. Super organized, great team. Super active, which I keep saying is so important for me. I want to be in a team that's active. So he was a lot of fun to play with, play for. Spads did a good job last season. Um, some people probably don't agree with this, but I've played for Vadi before too. Vadi was decent. He was good to me, good to the team. My time in the AHL, I played I think 3 or 4 seasons for Mackey. Hell of a manager with competitive team, a lot of chemistry, so we played a lot together. That was a lot of fun. Um, just trying to think. That's probably honestly it. Just I think probably Plymouth was probably like the best experience because, like I said, it's just being on a team that cares and that's active is, and then competitive, which is great. It's like one of the first times I was on a top team, on a team that won the league. So it's nice to be able to get an opportunity to play on a team that's considered one of the best in the league, and to play for a team that's active is so important to me. So definitely was a lot of fun there.
Yeah, well, fair enough. It doesn't look like much more is rolling in. I mean, we're almost at the 45-minute mark here too, and you said you got a little one at home too, so we probably we might cut it off. Um, oh, Chicken Legs got one question. This will be the question we'll ask here. Will there be a possibility where esports server selection process gets implemented into LG to help equal the playing field for West Coast players? Coming from a West Coast player, obviously too.
So we actually utilized that server selection in PlayStation and NHL for 3 seasons in a row, and seemed to be pretty good. Personally, I have no issues with implementing that at all. I think it's fair. The furthest you're going to go is going to be is Cell Central, anyways. It's community buy-in. I think honestly, I'd like to get to a point where it's consistent across everything we do. Whether it be LGHL or esports, to be the exact same. For competitive balance, I would have to agree that the esports service selection is the way to do it. So, no, fingers crossed, but I think that's something we could implement in the future for sure. I'd like to see the whole service selection system be upgraded and improved a little bit more, so it shows on the mobile app, so it's you can put your vetoes in on the website or on the app kind of thing. Like that would be, once we get to that point where Triz updates the system, then it's like, okay, it'll be very easy for us to kind of say, okay, moving forward, this is going to be the direction we're going. But yeah, I would have to agree with them that that style of service selection is ideal, and it should be something we look at and should be the direction we go in the future.
Right on. Interesting. Yeah, that'd be cool. And I agree, man. Like if it's the same all the way around, it makes things so much easier too. And there's same rules, same format. I think is a big deal, and that would make things a lot better.
Even too, like there was a suggestion made by NHL teams before about like hiding lines. So on that one page where like the line matchups are, it'd be kind of nice if like those didn't show the lineup in the regular season until like the game's already started. Because a lot of issues that people talk about are the fact that they jump in there and they see, oh, I'm playing a top team, I'm gonna get crushed. So then like they don't show up or they forfeit, right? So I think that's an NHL issue more than any other league. But I definitely would have to agree it'd be kind of nice if that page didn't show as much information that would allow us to, well, not kind of be the okay, I'm going to quit now because this is who I'm playing. So, but we'll see.
Yeah, or just don't be soft and don't worry about who you're playing. And just
That's you said it best. Like I agree with that 100%. But unfortunately, that's just the way. That's just the way this community is, man. Some people just can't handle the fact that they can't win in a video game.
Yeah, and Spads is saying no more scrub hunting either. They would fix that.
Well, it would completely, right? It would change everything. It'd be like you don't know who you're playing until you get into the game. Like that's the way to do it. Like that's pure competitiveness, and obviously in the playoffs, it can't be that way in the playoffs because we need the line matching is definitely part of it, and finishing really well in the season, you've earned that ability, in my opinion. So I definitely think in the playoffs, you'd have to do something different, whether we do it via thread or whatever we do, right? But in this season, it'd be ideal if that was changed, so you don't know who you're playing until you match up.
Yeah, my only issue with that is I wouldn't be able to do my media anymore because I do it based on seeing the lineups before the game. So that would go away if we
Yeah, true.
got rid of that. But
True.
I like the idea because it would eliminate some of those issues for sure. And I think I would agree with you. It's probably more of like an NHL issue than a CHL issue because if you're worried about who you're playing in the CHL, then you're in trouble, I think.
Yeah, you shouldn't be playing at all. Like,
Oh man, awesome. Anyways, dude, thanks so much for joining. We'll end this here. I appreciate your time and hopping on here and learning a little bit more about you and the league itself. So thanks for doing this.
I really appreciate your time too, man. You've done some great stuff media wise this year, and it's like I said, it's a thankless position, and we're glad to have you doing it. So really appreciate you doing this, man.
Awesome, man. Take care.
You too. Take care.
Bye. Awesome, guys. Thanks for joining in. For those who joined the chat, it was awesome. Great times here. Looking forward to watching the Final Four here in the CHL. Like I said, I got the I got the Oshawa winning. I'm going to say in 7. And I got Portland winning in 5 is what I'm going to say. And then we'll see how that turns out. But again, couldn't do this without you guys. Appreciate everyone here. Had a great time talking with Brody. And best of luck to those who are still in playoffs. And looking forward to next season starting already. So take care, guys. Have a great night.